Okay, now let's look at BigCommerce and let's look at one of the great strengths in BigCommerce, and that has to do with URL structures. Now, what you can do in BigCommerce when you are setting up your store, when you are adding new products, or when you're transferring in from another platform, which is where this really shines, is you can define the structure and the format of the URLs going into your store. So let's go and see where that looks like. We're going to go into our BigCommerce control panel and go under Store Setup and go under Store Settings. And then we're going to go into the URL structure here. Now, there are settings in here for both your product URL, your category URL, and your web page URL. And by default, you will automatically be chosen this SEO optimized short option, which gives you your domain and then the name of the product or the section or the page. But there are other choices. So there's a category one, and you can see the difference here, whether it has the category in there first and then the product. But the biggest strength is being able to set a custom format for one or any of these. You can go in and you can use a number of placeholders. They have a link here that explains them, that allow you to put in the product name, the category name, this product SKU, the UPC, the name of the parent category in case of the category URL, and the web page has the options for the name of the page or the name of the parent page. So this allows you to go in here and put in a placeholder, and we're going to call this product name dot, let's say we want to make them all into .html, and now that is the base structure that will be used. Now, if you want to use that and then you say, you know what, I want to impact every item I've already got in the store, I can click this button to update product URLs, and it will give you options to change all of those automatically. Otherwise, if you don't use this button, it'll simply impact things that you add new. Now let's go back into our store. Let's go back to our products to see an example of this. If we go into a product, if you go into your editor for your product, there's two different layouts, so don't worry if yours looks a little different. But the main thing is going to be in the generally the same area. We're looking at SEO, and here's our product URL. Now, the nice thing about BigCommerce, besides being able to set a default, is you can manually override the URL completely for any product. So I can go in here and I can change this one to dustpan pretty.html. And then when I go to save this, it'll not only change the URL, but it'll also even put in your redirect from the old URL to the new URL. Also, when you're transferring from another platform, you can send in any URL with it to create that URL to match your existing platform on that migration. Frequently, that's what we recommend. When migrating from one to another, try to keep those URLs the same. I will give the caveat that there are times that it may be beneficial not to, and that is if your old URLs are useless, they have no SEO value, they give no description to the page, you may want to make those changes. But if you do, make sure to go and put in those URL redirects. I cannot stress that enough. So that's the basics of URL structures in BigCommerce. Very, very flexible, very powerful feature.